How are we doing, everyone? It's BritHick with Connor and Aaron, episode 5 now.
Yeah, edition sank.
We're getting fancy with your other languages.
Just mishmash there. Edition sank means like nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Proper...
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, what is it? Lingua franca, where it's just like a mishmash of different languages.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Obviously, it feels weird because, like, about to say, bank holiday. There was one a few weeks ago when we did this, but yeah, bank holiday again.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's another day off for me as well. So nice. I booked it off. So I haven't taken it back. I might as well just take the holiday when I can, when it was already booked pre-lockdown. So
yeah, why not, man? Like, once everyone's back at work, it's just gonna be backlog of like holiday everyone's trying to take.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, I mean, I had holiday booked for August, which was obviously for going to Germany, which isn't happening, but I might just keep it. It depends what happens, like, with things going forward, whether or not I need those days, but August is nice weather-wise, so...
Yeah, it's still in the summer, really, isn't it? So...
Yeah, so I'll just, at what point, like, how lax is the restrictions going to be by August? I have no idea. Obviously, what I was going to do in Germany isn't happening, so I won't be going to Germany. Just have to see what's happening in August around the UK, whether or not it's even able to go anywhere else to do anything during the week or not. But
yeah, that's it. I reckon by August we should be able to travel about and whatever.
Yeah, well, hopefully, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, what have you been up to this week, anyway?
Right, what have I mainly been doing? Oh, I've been absolutely binging Modern Family. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
I have not.
It's very good. Like, it's very funny. Like I won't go like mad into it, like all the episodes, but basically, so it's an extended family. So it's the husband and wife, and it's like their family on either side. And like kind of like families within that. So it's a sitcom. So you've got like the Dunphys, who are the main families, so husband, wife, 3 kids. And then like her dad and his wife, who's like a younger Colombian woman.
Right.
And her kid. And then like the uncles are like a gay couple with an adopted daughter. And yeah, so that's like the 3 main families. Obviously it's all like interconnected, but it's very funny. Like, the humour in it is great. It's just easy. It's like so easy to watch as well, because like they're like 20-minute episodes.
Is it British?
No, it's American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's really good. Like, a lot of it's like situational comedy, and like I think the humour translates very well to like British humour.
Okay, which isn't always the case with American stuff.
No, like I'd say it's very like it's a different show, obviously, but I'd say similar to the way that the US Office like translates well to like a British audience, like similar to that.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
But yeah, we've just been caning that this week. It's just nice watching something you don't really have to think about. You can just like enjoy it, like switch off for a bit.
Right, yeah, rather than being kind of emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, and having to be like, right, what's going on here? Like, you know, keeping track of stuff, because it's not like one long running plot. Like, you can dip in and out of episodes if you wanted to, and you understand what was going on.
Right, okay.
Like, there's things that obviously like reference, but you wouldn't be like, I don't have a clue what's happening here, kind of thing. So that's good. Yeah, we finished all the Star Wars like saga at the weekend as well.
Okay.
So that was
I still haven't seen the last one, so
it was cool. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoy Star Wars, but I wouldn't say like, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know what I mean? It's relatively like inoffensive to me, like the later trilogy. I know obviously some of the like more hardcore fans weren't too keen, but they're just enjoyable films. Like, yeah, they're not the same as, you know, like the original trilogy and stuff, but I think they're entertaining if nothing else. You know, like I didn't watch them thinking like, why am I just wasting my time? Like, I enjoyed myself. So
yeah, I think that's the main thing. Like, I mean, there have been some things in 7 and 8 that I was kind of like, they've kind of put it into tick boxes kind of thing, rather than it actually be an educated choice.
Yeah,
They've,
definitely.
they've just kind of got a list of tropes, I guess, that they decided that they wanted to hit. It's Disney now. Like they've got to make it appeal to kids and stuff. So that's what they got to do. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're the ones that are buying the toys predominantly.
yeah,
So
true.
I mean,
Like,
it's the same as like with wrestling and stuff. When you get all of like the die-hard old school wrestling fans that get really butthurt and up in arms about, I don't know, just like a certain wrestler that's obviously tailored to appeal to kids. And it's like, well, they're tailored to appeal to kids because they make mad money out of the kids buying all of the stuff.
yeah, of course. And like, even if you look back at all of the films, so like, I guess realistically, there's 3 trilogies. You know, so you've got A New Hope, like the original 3 movies. That obviously episode 4, 5, and 6. Then you had Phantom Menace and like that trilogy, like late 90s through to 2000, and the most recent trilogy. But there's been aspects like throughout the history of it that have been to appeal to children. Like the common one with Return of the Jedi is the Ewoks, and there's a lot of people go, I think they were just put in to appeal to children.
Yeah,
like, you know, they basically look like small bears and they're quite funny. Like, and I think it's an interesting thing with Star Wars, and I guess a lot of things are a strong fandom like that because the people who are mega fans of it now like discovered it as children, but they've grown with it. So I guess you kind of have to look through the lens the other way and like appreciate like that's going to be a lot of people's entry into it as it was for them, like these newer movies.
Well, the thing is with Star Wars is that they were the first ones that kind of did the merchandising stuff. That way, because I can't remember exactly how it works out, but George Lucas, as part of it, got to keep the merchandising rights for it, and Fox didn't think anything of it because no one did merchandising for films really.
No,
so they didn't care for the branding. And then obviously there's a whole thing with the demand was so high that they couldn't produce the toys in time. And then in the Christmas of, I'm assuming it must have been 77 because that's when the first one came out. They weren't expecting it to be such a runaway success. They were going to stores and you had to buy like a cardboard cutout of the models.
okay,
and it was like you haven't you haven't got the real models. But this is like not like a token, but a kind of like proof of you're going to be getting them. So kids were opening up, like Christmas of 77, opening up these boxes that just had like a piece of cardboard in it that had the models, like photos of the models printed on a piece of cardboard.
Wow.
From Kenner that just basically said, yeah, they're not ready, but you're gonna get them at some point.
That's crazy. Ironically as well, I bet those cardboard bits are worth loads now if someone's got them.
I would assume so, yeah. I mean, the number one person that I can think of that would know something like that would be Bill from Mastodon with his collection.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the start of tie-ins.
Yeah, like, funny enough as well, like you've mentioned it, like I caught up with my like dad and stepmom on Skype last week. And she actually mentioned that as well. Like, yeah, it was the first movie that had all like the merchandise tied and the big advertising campaigns and stuff. Like, you go to a petrol station, they'd have like stuff they give away and like branded bits and things. It was like a real big deal.
I don't know the order of how it all went either, which is kind of, so I can't really say either way whether or not the branding was pre-release and they were ahead of the curve in doing that, or the branding was post-release when they realised that it was going to be successful.
Yeah,
because the first film was always done on like a massive shoestring.
Yeah,
like proper like cutting corners and kind of rough and ready filming of it. So I don't know whether or not the money was invested in the marketing prior to release, or if it was retroactively done because they knew that they had something good on their hands.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it, but it's still like obviously a massive phenomenon, and it's really interesting. That was because now obviously it's like merchandising and tie-ins and stuff and franchising stuff out. It's just a done thing for everything now.
Yeah, it's just part of the course.
Yeah, so it's interesting to think of a time where it's like that wasn't the case, and that was the first thing to really like pioneer that.
Another thing as well is orchestral scores were really out of fashion at that point.
Oh.
It was a lot more because it was like 70s, mid-late 70s. It's more of like using kind of early synthesizers and not disco, but more funk-based and synthesizer-based stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't really used that much. It wasn't in vogue to have an orchestral score. Not purely, definitely not. It was seen as expensive and unnecessary. But then when, obviously, John Williams did it, and then it was massively successful. But I can't remember when did E.T. come out?
I think it was mid-80s. Let me just double check. Like, I'm pretty sure it was before I was born, but not by like a massive amount.
I can never remember the order of Star Wars was 77 for sure. Alien was 79.
Oh, E.T. was 82, so earlier than I thought it was.
Yeah, 82, which was the same year as Jedi, I think. Also the same year as the Blues Brothers.
Really?
The other one is Close Encounters. I don't know when Close Encounters came out.
I'm not a film buff at all. Like, this is not my trivia.
But again, it's...
77, same as Star Wars.
Same. Yeah, there was kind of a turning point at that point with, obviously, John Williams did E.T. as well. He became, I guess, the closest equivalent for like the last 10 years would be Hans Zimmer, who's the go-to guy for scores.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it's a bit more varied now because I think that Junkie XL, after he did Mad Max, was quite in demand as well for like a different kind of sound. But yeah, I mean, up until that point, it was predominantly synthesized, and it was still going on into the 80s because you've got to think of like Vangelis and
Blade Runner
and all of the John Carpenter stuff.
The Boy.
Although I feel like the John Carpenter stuff is synthesized just because John Carpenter refuses to have anyone else do the music for his film.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like, it was more of a, for want of a better way to explain it, it's more of a byproduct of his working process. He was so DIY.
Yeah.
You know, essentially. But then obviously that became a thing in of itself, and those soundtracks are iconic now.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's really interesting, like listening through the John Carpenter and stuff, like how it evolved. Like the early soundtracks are like really primitive, like The Fog and Assault on Precinct 13. Like they're pretty basic.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we watched The Fog, it was very minimal.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know, if you go into something like Big Trouble in Little China, like it's crazy soundtrack, and I'd say The Thing as well, but that's actually like Ennio Morricone as well on that.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a very clear like evolution in the music and stuff like through his films.
I feel like the turning point was Halloween.
Yeah, I think that was the first really like iconic theme, I think, from like a John Carpenter film, like really recognisable, you know, and I think like captured the essence of the character of Michael Myers.
Yeah, I feel like he changed from just having background music throughout a film to actually having leitmotif, where you'd have the themes for the characters.
Yeah.
Michael Myers had a theme. I've forgotten Jamie Lee Curtis's character's name.
Is it Laurie?
Yeah, so Laurie had music and variations of that. I think, well, I don't know, it's my own personal opinion that for when composing for film, that leitmotif is usually the best way to go. That characters should have variations of a melody that run through the whole film.
Yeah.
A good example is in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. There's lots and lots of leitmotif in it. So Howard Shore has it for like so the Uruk-hai have one, Sauron has one, Saruman has one, Gandalf has one, and the one that I can think of is that there is a scene in the third film where Sam says to Frodo about thinking about the Shire.
Right.
And there's no visual cue, but because the music goes to what was used in the first film when they were in the Shire, or a variation of it that's kind of woven into it, you automatically know what Frodo's thinking. There's no visual representation, but because they've used the motif from the first film when they were in the Shire, you know that he's thinking about it.
The magic of music.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's it's one of those things that people don't think so much about. But if you watch it, you just subconsciously know that he's thinking about. Obviously, Sam says think back to the Shire and says stuff about it, but then it cuts to Frodo, and then the music like changes over.
It's been discussed many times, but not a movie, but to draw that comparison, like speak like John Carpenter and that kind of sound, and the whole leitmotif used and stuff, like something contemporary, which obviously draws a clear influence on that, would be like Stranger Things soundtrack.
Oh yeah, for sure, like that 80s.
And I think that was like it's very well done. I know it's like the program's really good. Like I really enjoy it, and a lot of people obviously enjoy it, but the soundtrack work on that, you can tell like a lot of attention to detail went into that, and it was like really well crafted. Like just you can listen to the soundtrack on its own, and it's enjoyable. And they do make use of like character themes as well.
Yeah.
And as well as that, as well as the original scoring, I think they did a really good job of integrating like song choice alongside the like original composition as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that's often underappreciated is using existing music in period pieces. So, like, I mean, Quentin Tarantino gets like lauded with it a lot, that his choice of existing music in films is always really good. But I mean, it's not just him that does it. Like he's very good at it. But I mean, yeah, Stranger Things. The choice of the music that goes through it is usually very good, and not always the obvious choice, I guess. Yeah,
but the one I always think of, like, just because it's so funny, but it's so fitting as well, is oh my god, I've forgotten his bloody name. Like, this is awful. It's like literally one of my favourite characters as well, and I've just absolutely mind blanked here. 1 second.
To be fair, how long was it since you watched Stranger Things?
Oh, about a year, I guess.
Yeah, like I watched the last season when it came out, and like I haven't gone back to watch it again. So,
Billy, that's it. Yeah, Billy's introduction when he pulls up in his car, and it's he's blasting "Rock You Like a Hurricane." It's so fitting.
Well, you'll just
and it's a banger as well.
I was going to say you'll just get gassed on that song if it gets played anyway.
Yeah, but it's so good. It fits the character so well, and like it's just a great song, like really well chosen. Just a good example. And like there's a thing, like obviously, like if you go to someone, what Scorpion song, like name one. If they don't say like Winds of Change or whatever, they'll probably say, oh yeah, Rock You Like a Hurricane. And I think some like you're saying, there's a lot to be said for using existing music well, but in addition to that, I think for using like the obvious hits well, like that's something in itself as well, something that people have kind of been overexposed to. But if you can make it effective, that's quite a skill.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the UK, people that are watching it maybe don't know the Scorpions as much, but I mean, it could have been something like really obvious. I'm just trying to think of something that's like of the era, but.
Motley Crue or something.
Yeah, just like a glam rock kind of thing, like New York Dolls, or like something like really on the nose.
Yeah.
Whereas Scorpions isn't straight down the line kind of thing. I
think just really well chosen as well, because like it's just a song about being a big shagger, and he's a big shagger.
Yeah.
It's just a big like obnoxious song, and it like really like fits that character.
Yeah. I've been listening to I listened to that Carpenter Brew cover of Maniac, and I just got way too gassed before we went on because I was like, the songs that came on after it, I was like, this is as if I'm pre-drinking to go out on a summer day kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's all those kind of songs, those kind of 80s throwback synthwave ones, and with the Carpenter Brew cover of Maniac, it is essentially Maniac except with modern production value and like faster drums.
Yeah.
So it's just way more pumping, like all the way through the song. So I was just like, yeah, this is really, really good. And again, like when you were saying about that the score for Stranger Things is really good, again, like Carpenter Brew has just done a score, their film, which came out last week, I think. Or no, tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow. And again, it hits those similar kind of John Carpenter-esque notes.
Yeah.
It's that thing of like arpeggiators and synths and Roland synthesized drums and things like that. It's like we said before that it's not a rehash directly of it. It's not God, what's the name of that band that everyone says is a clone of Led Zeppelin?
Oh, Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah, it's not Greta Van Fleet. Like Greta Van Fleet is just Led Zeppelin, but modern. And Led Zeppelin was ripping off blues standards. It's taking the idea of the stuff from the 80s and actually applying modern electronic dance production and song structures to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with taking influence and stuff. And it's, if you're going to do something fresh with it, like all the better. And I think especially with like John Carpenter stuff, like a lot of those compositions and like stylistically, like they lend themselves well to, kind of trying to explain myself, but they lend themselves well to songcraft, because he's very like, by his own admission, his composition, he's very like riff based.
Yeah.
Not to like diminish like the quality of the stuff at all. Like, I absolutely love his soundtrack work, but it's quite easy to follow and get a grasp of, and to create stuff that's kind of like that, like as opposed to, you know, you take John Williams, like someone we've mentioned, like you can't really just sit down without a good grasp of music and create like a score like that.
Yeah, it's not complex. Like it's the John Williams stuff there's so much stuff going on, and it's obviously based in classical and orchestral music. It's done by section. Whereas the John Carpenter stuff is more easy to replicate as if it was like a 5-man band.
Yeah, definitely. He did those live shows as well, didn't he? With like a band set up.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's like the very like big characterful parts are not necessarily like very complex, but they're really important in themselves as a composition. But it's easy to see how it was put together, and there's not loads of crazy layers and weird harmonies and stuff going on. It's pretty direct and to the point, like, and you can translate that well, like especially like, you know, synthwave and things take a lot of homage to that as well, and you can definitely see the crossover.
Interestingly, I was going to say as well, Empire Strikes Back's 40 years old today, this week.
40?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So so I think I'm pretty sure that Jedi was 82, so Empire was 80, and then New Hope was 77.
Mad, isn't it? And obviously, like I say Jesus like I was born when it was out, but it's just crazy how fast time goes.
Yeah, the thing is as well is that when we were saying before about the marketing for Jedi with the Ewoks, is that I guess Jedi was the earliest point where they were even going to be able to market something specifically for children. Because if they released it, they were kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not it was going to be any good. It obviously was really fucking successful. Then they did the toys. I'm assuming that the script for Empire was already in some way done before they found out about the toys being so successful. So they would have had to have done the second film. And then by the time that they had written the third film, they would have been able to kind of shoehorn in something for kids.
Yeah, definitely. Like, also as well, one thing that I recall, like, which is pretty interesting and like quite mad to think about actually. So obviously, like, episode 1 came out in like late 90s. I can't remember this specific year.
I want to say it was 99.
Yeah, I think that is correct. But like, I remember, like, obviously, I remember that coming out. I went to see it at the cinema with my family and stuff. But even before episode 1 came out and kind of like reignited the whole Star Wars thing, there was still always like Star Wars toys and stuff in the shop. Like, I remember, like, from the original characters and stuff. So that never went away, which is like, it's insane to think about.
I remember like people having lightsabers in primary school, which is like before, like, I went to secondary school in 2000, but it wasn't because of the prequel trilogy that the lightsabers were around. It was because of just the general permanent exposure of Star Wars toys. Although I think I had some Star Wars micro machines, but I don't think I ever had like Star Wars toys when I was growing up.
When we moved into our family home in Wolverton, when we first moved over there, I can't remember how old I would have been or how young I would have been. I remember, like, my dad went up in the loft and he found a Han Solo and a Chewbacca, like, little figures.
Yeah.
And I used to play with them loads. Like, they're probably worth something now. God knows where they are. But yeah, so that was, and then, yeah, it wasn't something I really had. I think I watched it with my dad when I was little, but it wasn't something I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm mad about Star Wars. Like, but I remember, yeah, episode 1 and that trilogy coming out, and when that happened again, like, the merchandising was nuts. Like, I remember with like Walker's crisps, you could send off like X amount of tokens, and you got this like Jar Jar Binks thing when you squeeze it and had a like big sticky tongue that flew out and like grabbed shit. And that's an example. Like, loads of the merchandising for kids was like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. The worst one that I've seen for that, which I got reminded about a couple of weeks ago, was a lollipop. And it was Jar Jar Binks' head, and then his head split open, and then just a massive tongue came out of it.
Mental.
And the caption with it was like, whoever was in marketing that thought this up really didn't think about it properly.
Yeah. I had they make all the mad figures and dolls and stuff.
Yeah.
I had the Jar Jar Binks one, and it was nuts. It was like probably about 2 or 3 feet like tall, and it spoke, like, and you could set it to like wake you up in the morning and shit like that.
Oh, was it like one of the room guard ones where, like, if someone came into the room, like, it would say something as well?
No, it was like it was almost like half plush and half like figure.
Oh, okay.
So you could sleep with it basically, and it woke up in the morning by like shaking and doing the like stupid fucking Jar Jar Binks noises. But yeah, it's mad when you think about that actually. Like, what a bizarre toy. But yeah, I loved it. I was, you know what I mean, I was gassed on it. But
yeah,
when we watched that again, like recently, obviously watching through them, I still hadn't seen them. I was watching it, I was like, actually, yeah, Jar Jar Binks is just a tit. He just fucks everything up. It's a liability.
Have you seen the theory that he was, when that was originally written, that he was gonna become like a Sith Lord?
Yeah.
Because, like, he inadvertently screws everything up for everyone, and he's like a bumbling idiot. And he's exiled from the Gungan city, and it's never explained why he was exiled, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That they were gonna do some. I can't, like, it was a really long post, basically, but it made sense that it would eventually be that he was the one that was going to turn Anakin.
Imagine if they'd actually done that.
Because he was basically going to be by him from when he was a kid, and then basically say stuff to him about, I don't know, going to see Palpatine or stuff, but basically just like constantly whispering in his ear, but playing the kind of innocent bumbling idiot. And then all of a sudden it was going to be that he was going to turn around and be like, oh yeah, I'm not a bumbling idiot, I'm a Sith.
Fooled you all along.
Which I thought, if they had done that, if they had persevered with the negative backlash and kept him prominently, because obviously the backlash to him was so bad that they wrote him out of the second film almost.
Yeah, like, he's literally in it like twice. Like,
pops up. Yeah. If they had kept him in the second film prominently, everyone's still absolutely frothing at the bit. And then in the third film, we turned around and were like, nah, I'm a Sith. Like, I've bamboozled everyone. That would have been the funniest swerve ever.
Imagine if you could go back in time and change it so that was the case. Like,
I'd just want to know whether or not that's legit, because obviously no one in Lucasfilm is going to say either way whether or not that was like their original intention.
yeah.
And all credit to George Lucas, I don't think he's in that kind of mind to play the long game like that.
Yeah.
Like, people say, oh, but what about Luke and Leia? And it's like, no, that they decided that Luke and Leia were sisters between Empire and Jedi. That's when they decided that they were brother and sister. Like, that was not a thing that was decided on. That was not the long game. That was just a random decision that they made, whilst forgetting that they kissed in the previous film.
Yeah, it's like, we'll just skirt over that little bit of casual incest.
Yeah, we'll just not worry about that. They didn't know at the time, so it's fine. It's like,
yeah,
okay, fair enough.
But yeah, like, so obviously we've had a big Star Wars rundown to start the episode.
Well, and Stranger Things and 80s music in general.
Big 80s sci-fi rundown.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were discussing earlier on, like, this week, because last week we got really into face and heel of the week and we didn't do Noughtstalgia, we're just going to do like a bumper Noughtstalgia this week.
Yeah, and the fact that we couldn't find all of the bits that we needed to do face heel, and at least you tried.
People really need to try harder to be shitheads because it's been a struggle this week.
Whereas the previous week there was lots of shitheads. This week, not so many shitheads.
So up your game.
or we're just getting desensitized to the level of shittery.
Yeah, like, I try and avoid obvious ones because the thing is, like, if you like pick politicians and stuff, like, you just have the same people every week. I always try and find like different ones and that, but yeah, just nothing this week really really cropped up where I was like, oh, that's a good one.
No, the only one for me was that Jim Cornette, the wrestling booker, has just decided to be a prize asshole and say that Becky Lynch getting pregnant is comparable to an injury that you just caused yourself.
Oh, what a tit.
I've only read excerpts of what he's said, but he's just been an absolute misogynist, basically. Just saying that she should have waited until she wasn't earning as much money to have a kid.
Right.
And that she shouldn't have done it when she was the champion. And that it's a choice. Obviously, it's a choice, per se. However, the way that he put it across was like, I think his analogy was, it's like a male champion breaking his own leg. And I was just like, and I read
what
it.
A pig.
Yeah. I just read it. I was like, I don't particularly like his opinions in general. Like, I've read a few of kind of his opinion pieces on modern wrestling, and yeah, he's a bit of an arse. But yeah, and also kind of more wrestling news, which is quite sad, is that Jad Gaspard, who was one half of Crime Time, died this week, saving his son from Riptide in California.
Oh, bloody hell. Like, I saw something come up about that, but I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, I mean, Crime Time were kind of in the WWE in an era that I wasn't watching wrestling.
Yeah.
So kind of passed me by seeing them wrestle. But yeah, basically him and his 10-year-old son got caught in a riptide on a beach in California. The lifeguards went to him because they saw him first.
Right.
And he said to the lifeguards, "Save my son before you come grab me."
Yeah.
So when they went to grab his son, another wave hit and dragged him away.
Oh, shit.
And then they couldn't find him again. And obviously, like, he got washed up a couple of days later.
Oh, man.
But yeah, also, I've kind of read up on an article. He was also the mocap for Kratos on the God of War game for
Oh, really?
2018. So that would have been the most recent one, I guess.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it seemed like he didn't have any heat with anyone.
No, just
like kind of stand-up guy. He wasn't New Jack. I'll put it that way.
Wasn't a lunatic.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess by default you win heel of the week, and I guess we can say Gaspard's face of the week. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they were gonna be, but I mean they're kind of just it's all wrestling based, so it wasn't like I looked particularly hard, and they just popped up in my feed. But yeah, I guess. Do you want to say about the Noughtstalgia for this week?
Yeah, so this week we're going to talk about Greebo fashion.
Which is a thing that doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Also, the term Greebo fashion seems like a bit of an oxymoron, but you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like the...
Oh, put your claws away. Ooh.
I definitely used to have some of those fucking goth claws.
Oh, I forgot about those, but yeah, geez, those are insane. Like, I never had them myself, but imagine just rocking out with them now. Like, you'd probably get nicked.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were pretty sharp. Like, but the stupid thing is, I mean, they weren't expensive ones. Some of them that you could buy that were like silver and stuff were ridiculously expensive. Mine were just like pewter shit that I just got for like $5 each.
Yeah.
None of them fit properly. Like, if at any point, if I had them, and I never went out with them, like, it was just like, but yeah, if you just put like my fingers straight and down, they just all fall off. Like, none of them were on properly at any point.
You didn't have the elite tailored goth gauntlet.
No, I didn't know.
But yeah, I guess obviously a good starting point is, I mean, for myself, like, I think the first kind of time I kind of made a conscientious choice to like, I want to wear these certain clothes and stuff I was probably about 12, 11, 12. And it's kind of, so at the same time I got into music, I got into like skating and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I was always shit at skateboarding and I jacked it in to focus on playing guitar.
I did exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I was crap at it. Like, I just don't have the coordination or like the fearlessness to do it really. So, you know, like, it was never really going to work out.
Yeah, I couldn't even ollie properly.
Yeah, same. I was just absolutely shite at it. But yeah, I mean, so it was around that kind of time, and obviously that, I guess it's the same for most people when you get to that kind of age, like, you become more aware of like the kind of group you want to be a part of, and you know what comes with that in terms of like the image, and it's about making your identity and stuff. But yeah, obviously I kind of started out with like the whole skate clothing, like, you know, baggy hoodies and like the like branded tees and like that kind of stuff, and like Vans before they were like very fashionable, so when they were like chunky trainers and like DCs and stuff like that. And when I got more, like, when music became more of like the important thing, it was like, you know, band hoodies, the baggiest jeans you could find, wallet chains. Yeah. Like, I remember always I was like, oh, wallet chains aren't long enough, so I connected like 3 together. It's fucking ridiculous. People must have just thought I'd like lost my dogs. Because I had 3 of them interconnected, so that was like, they were down my like shin. Yeah. And I attached these like keychain things to them of like bands. So I had like a Korn one and like a Cradle of Filth one and stuff. I had a fucking red New York Yankees hat. Like,
going for the Fred Durst vibe.
All the tropes, like, yeah, it's just absolutely hilarious. Like, they're like half pulling my trousers down because they weigh about a metric ton, like these chains.
Yeah.
And I had this Linkin Park hoodie. It was the only band hoodie I owned at the time. But I remember, like, hoodies back then were like so expensive.
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, they seemed expensive, but it's like,
yeah. But I mean, I think even compared to now, really, like, I literally remember like Korn hoodies and stuff in HMV costing like 60 quid.
I don't know. Oh, I mean, I never really wore hoodies. Obviously, I do now, but
yeah,
like, And I never had the jeans like you remember the Junko jeans.
Oh yeah, I didn't have them.
I didn't have them. I had baggy jeans that obviously ended up under the back of your shoe when you ripped them up. But I never had
they got like all cruddy.
Yeah, I never had the ones that were like bigger than your shoe.
Yeah, no, I never had that. I knew like a few mates and that did. Like, seemed predominantly like girls that I knew had those.
Yeah, like girls. Like I knew a couple guys that had them. And like I went through like a cybergoth thing in like my late teens, and I got a pair of like camo ones, but they weren't bigger like the bell bottom ones. They were just really really baggy.
Yeah,
but you can still wear boots with them and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's the same, like big kind of fat skate shoes and baggy jeans, and then kind of Quicksilver tops and stuff.
Yeah.
And then gradually less and less colour in the wardrobe and more black.
I wanted in black.
For everything. I didn't get my first band shirt until I was 16 though.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I'm just trying to think about it. Yeah, I think my first band shirt was Rammstein when I went to go see Rammstein.
Okay.
Which was like my first big gig. So it was like a month after my 16th birthday. The times before that, it was like the pits and stuff. And I wasn't buying merch then because I didn't have any money. I'm trying to think like kind of it was like obviously those kind of school non-uniform days, what the kind of stuff that I would have had. But I honestly can't remember like top-wise what I would have had. It would have just been like kind of branded skate tops and stuff, I guess, like Billabong and things like that.
Yeah, I had a load of Billabong stuff and whatever, like to start off with. And then I remember the first band tee I bought was a Papa Roach one, of all bands.
The new metal band that became Douche Rock.
Yeah. Still, like, Infest is a banging album, and I will stand by that. I'll die on that hill. I don't care. Like,
I mean, of the albums that there are for that era, it's one of the better ones. It's one of the ones that probably
there's still some cringy lyrics in it, like "ooh, big angst," but
well, someone was saying the other day about Slayer and the Gods Hate Us All album, and like some of the lyrics on that are kind of 14-year-old angsty boy lyrics. And like,
some of them are a bit like, "oh, you're hard," like.
It seems to be of the time, that kind of 99 to 2001 kind of time was the angsty boy lyrics all around.
Oh, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong. It's obviously like no secret. I absolutely bloody love Slayer, but not just to point the finger at them for that. But yeah, that kind of era, like intellect wasn't very rife in metal. It was all pretty dumb. Like.
Lowest common denominator metal.
Yeah, a lot of it. Don't get me wrong. There were some like forward thinking bands and so people like bands with stuff to say with a bit of heft, but a lot of it was very much like, you know, I'm here for the good times. Like, yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well is that like growing up when I was kind of finding music and stuff, a lot of it was on the compilation CDs. So I am listening to kind of lowest common denominator songs of those bands. So
yeah,
it is what it is, which is probably why I didn't have much in the way of merch, because I wasn't listening to, unlike now where I would just listen to like a whole album of a band. I was only listening to like bits and pieces of different bands. I'd probably have a Kerrang shirt if I had anything. Obviously they didn't make any at that point in time, but it was kind of that way.
Like I remember in terms of like shirts and stuff, so like saying I got a Papa Roach one, like I don't really remember getting a lot of band merch in that first couple of years, like not until really I was probably about 14 and like really seriously got into like playing guitar and like into like thrash and like death metal and stuff. So I remember getting like for one birthday, like I asked for some, like I was like, oh, I want some like band t-shirts, and I got a Cannibal Corpse shirt, like Eating Back to Life one.
Nice.
And got a Master of Puppets shirt, some other bits. Something quite funny I remember, so I think a bit prior to that, at the market, the city, like the Saturday market, they had there used to be a stall that did like, you know, like bootlegs, like band shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
and they had a Christian Death shirt. And I'd never listened to him, but it was like the shirt was like Christian Death, and it was like loads of people on crucifixes, like almost like a photograph.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's sick, that's so cool. And I bought it, and then like about 6 months later, I found some Christian Death songs on LimeWire. I was like, this band are fucking shit. I thought they were going to be like some death metal band. I remember buying it because I played a show that night. Let's go way back. It's like Battle of the Bands at the Pit. I was like, yeah, I'll buy that shirt. It's sick. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, this band are pony. I thought they were going to sound like Deicide.
And they did not.
No, not at all.
Quite quickly after I got the Rammstein shirt, I got like a few others. The other one that I can remember getting is I got a Cradle shirt, which I had until quite recently. Obviously, it doesn't fit me anymore because I was a waif when I was like 16. So I got it. I got it on holiday with my parents in Spain, and I was like, "Could I get this shirt, please?" And they were like, "What is it?" And I was like,
"It wasn't the Cradle shirt, was it?"
No. They had the Cradle shirt there. And I was like,
God!
I was like, "Yeah, I don't want the masturbating nun one. I'll have the one that says hell was full, so I came back on it because I think it's funny." And I got that one. But then, I mean, my collection of shirts is absolutely ridiculous now. I think that's the one thing that's kind of carried over from then until now, because then was fucking pure stereotypical gothy Greebo, and should say goth in not an actual goth, just goth in the stereotypical Hot Topic-y way that chavs call goths.
Yeah,
it was the trench coat. I imported a trench coat from Hot Topic in America because it was because it was the only one that I could get hold of that wasn't leather, because I didn't want a leather one.
Okay.
And it wasn't for any ethical reason. I just didn't like the way that the leather ones looked. So I got, and New Rocks, black jeans. I mean, I wore keychains or wallet chains until I was like 25, 26. Because I was like, this serves a purpose.
That's the thing. That's the thing. They are a practical thing foremost. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've still got a carabiner on my keys, so my keys are attached to me on a carabiner. There's just no chain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, when I was living in London, if I didn't have the chain, I probably would have lost my wallet more times than I did. I went through. It was like I had it, and then within 6 months of me going, this is stupid, I shouldn't have this on, because when I was doing bar work and stuff, and it's quite fast paced, having something like that could get caught, and at points in time it did get caught. So I was like, this is stupid, I'm like not going to have this anymore. Or it broke and I just didn't buy another one. I can't actually remember. But within 6 months of like that happening, I lost my wallet. So it's like, well, I might as well actually just get it again to attach it on me. Of all the stupid things that I would have had kind of hanging off me when I was dressed, it's like the one thing that serves a purpose. I mean, I went through a phase as well of like that kind of glam rock thing of having like bandanas tied to your belt loops and...
Oh, right.
Because it was...
like a travelling magician.
Yeah. It was like the... when I was like 19 to 21, 22.
Yeah.
Because I was really into like J-Rock at that point. And J-Rock obviously gets a lot of its stuff from glam.
Yeah.
So I had glam hair and had the fucking bandanas and shit. So basically looked like I'd walked off of fucking Hollywood Boulevard circa 1984. Except with less heroin. But it was one of those things though that if you look at those photos of then and what I was going for, everyone would just go, "Nah, you look like a scene kid."
Right, yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I've obviously
can't win here, lads.
I've obviously missed the glam boat and landed square into Scene Town.
I remember, initially, when I kind of like, obviously saying at first, it was like through skating and whatever. But when it was more about like the band, like being into bands and that kind of thing, I was just like full on, just like basic Greebo, basically. Just like band shirts, camo trousers or jeans, like whatever. I wasn't very like, well, it wasn't about being fashionable, was it? It was fashion within itself, but yeah, pretty much. like looking back, it's like no finesse there, mate. Like
Yeah, I think there's some photos around somewhere. And also, I didn't have band shirts, but I had the stereotypical fucking dragon shirts
fantastic.
that have come from like the Celtic shop somewhere.
Yeah.
I definitely had those. And in fact, I had one shirt that got ripped, and then I made a back patch out of it that went on a camo jacket.
Nice.
That was way, way too big for me. And one of the oddest things was I was allowed to wear my boots, my trench coat, or my camo jacket to school.
Right.
But still wear a uniform, but with that over the top kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Whereas someone else who also had a camo jacket wasn't allowed to wear it. And I have no idea why.
Maybe they thought you were more likely to have a gun hidden under it. Like, don't upset him.
I think it was the other way around. I think it was because I was like all right, reasonably straight laced, and he was like a bit of a
nutter.
Yeah, but I had all of the wristband, like sweatbands and all that shit.
Yeah,
but it went like way too far. It looked like I was fucking California raver girl, like. Like 3 sweatbands on one arm and 2 sweatbands on the other arm, and like stuff in between the sweatbands and like chains wrapped around my hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and I was wearing that to school. Like that wasn't my casual wear. That was my, I'm going to school. My everyday, I'm going to school. There's no way that I can't think of a school where that would fly now.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back, like, obviously, we were at school like similar times and whatever, like give or take a couple of years. It definitely was like a lot more relaxed then.
My bag was fucked as well. Like it had, the doll that came with Issues.
Yeah, I've still got one of them. Found it in the move.
I don't think I have mine anymore. But I got it given to me by like my best friend at the time.
Yeah.
So that was on my bag. They actually got set fire. So Chav set fire to it when I was walking down the hallway once, which was interesting.
Jesus.
But like, I had band patches and kind of shoelaces sewn onto it, and badges and all kinds of shit on my rucksack.
Yeah.
And I guess that was another thing as well, was that kind of, and everyone wrote on there, and I think this was only a Greebo thing as well. I don't think anyone else did it, where everyone wrote on their rucksacks.
Yeah,
all over it, like And
I remember drawing like loads of like band logos on mine and stuff.
Yeah, it was stuff like that. Yeah, and like my school planner, like I'd print out or cut out stuff from magazines and stick it in my planner.
Yeah,
and like all kinds of shit like that. And like I worked at a school, and fair enough, like it was a kind of higher level school than the one that I went to, but there's no fucking way. Like there's no way that they would have had that.
No, definitely not.
Even the school that I go to now, like they have a full kind of. It seems like it's definitely like blazers and all that shit now.
The school you go to now?
Went to, sorry.
I was like, wait, what?
No, sorry. The school that I went to when I was growing up.
That is now, yeah. I think a lot of schools have gone that way. I mean, like I didn't go there, but Stantonbury in Milton Keynes, that was known for being like really relaxed about stuff like that. They didn't have a uniform at all.
Oh, okay.
And like the students called the teachers by like their first names and stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's like full uniform, like full strict uniform, like blazer and everything. Like it's completely changed. Like they've really like cracked down on it, and like even like we had a school uniform at my school, but there's a lot of leeway with it, to be honest. Like they only started cracking down on stuff once I was in sixth form, and obviously uniform didn't apply to us anyway. They bought in like a full uniform, like a blazer, like a house system and everything. It was fucking crazy. Like I think we were pretty much the last kind of, not generation, but the last kind of like, yeah, I guess so, maybe. Like that is the right way to describe it, before it got like super strict.
Yeah, I mean, it was similar to, because I didn't go to sixth form, I went to college right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, I think the summer holidays after I left, if it wasn't that year, it was the year after, they put up a 10-foot high barbed wire fence around the school. which wasn't there before. It was quite easy to get in and out. Like, I'm not sure whether or not they said it was to stop people getting in the school, but I think it was to stop truancy.
Yeah.
Because it meant that past a certain time they locked the gates and you had to go through the reception and sign in as a latecomer kind of deal.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, I think not too long after they got the blazers and they had the house system. I think they were trialing it when I was in my last year there.
Yeah.
So it was definitely kind of that kind of time where it was switching over to being stricter.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny as well, obviously, like talking about it at school, there was a big thing about social groups and, like cultures and whatever, like, Greebos, chavs, all this stuff. But obviously I'm not a kid anymore, neither of us are, but I don't think it's something that's as prevalent now.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it was very like almost tribal, like back when we were teenagers. It was like, you would not be friends with people like from the other side, like, but you just wouldn't. Like, there'd probably be a few exceptions, but by and by it just wasn't the done thing. And could be pretty vicious at times as well. Like, and obviously it was such a distinct difference in terms of like attire and all that, and like music and everything. But I don't think I think it's a bit wishy-washy now, and I don't mean that I'm not dissing it off, you know what I mean? Is you think back about it, like it was quite petty, a lot of it, but I don't think there's such a big distinction now. I think there's a lot more crossover between things like fashion and music and whatever, and I personally think that's a good thing, because some people went through absolute shit like back then just for like because of what they listened to and how they dressed and stuff, and like I don't wish that on any kids, to be honest. I was quite fortunate. I didn't really have to put up with much crap, but obviously, again, I'm observing this from the outside because I'm not a kid. I've not been at school for years, but I don't even see it coming up in discussions with like, people I know that have like older kids and stuff now.
No, I mean that could be part to do with the strict uniform.
Yeah,
because you can't. How are you going to know? Obviously, outside of school's different, but I mean, I don't see it so much. I don't see it in the same way that it was almost like a run-in battle. Like, especially around here, I remember it being very much that like the chavvy groups would go out of their way, would go drinking, and then they would try and find like the Greebos wherever they were.
Yeah, it happened loads. Like,
but I obviously don't want to over-egg it and like say, oh, it was this big like crazy thing. But I mean, it was definitely something that happened. Like, there was a few times where groups of people would be doing something, and I think someone like called the police on them, and then someone in that group got pepper sprayed, and then because that happened, then it was like, yeah, we're just gonna kick the shit out of you whenever we see you, kind of thing.
Fucking hell. Yeah, like I remember like when you go out and stuff around that time. So what we saying, like 2000, like mid 2000s, I guess, really.
Yeah.
It was genuinely like, yeah, you had to be careful, and like, because like, yeah, if you're dressed a certain way or whatever, like people are gonna like start trouble or actively go out to like try and have a fight and stuff. And it's, when you think about it now, it's like, it's fucking ridiculous, but it really was like a genuine thing at that time.
Well, we said, like, not me and you, but the people that I hung around with at school, like when it was getting bad, was that someone will die and then it will stop. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like, not a year after 2007, it had all gone.
Yeah.
Like, there was none of that shit anymore.
It's such a shame that it had to come to that for it to kind of change. But I think now as well, maybe it's the way that people consume what makes their culture and stuff, like, their music and things. Like, I know we've kind of touched on it in another discussion, but where the internet just kind of blew everything wide open, I think there's a lot more crossover and stuff, and everyone's got access to like whatever they want now, pretty much. It's not like when we were teenagers, like you would share CDs around and stuff. That doesn't really happen now.
No, well, there's no need to.
Exactly, and I think in terms of that, it's like it's kind of crossed over a bit. And I think as well, like rock, for want of a better way to describe it, like rock and kind of alternative culture, it's become quite homogenized and marketed. Like you look at things like mumble rap and stuff, and a lot of that aesthetic and iconography and stuff they use, it's like it's pulled from alternative culture, and a lot of it's actually like from like air fingers, like emo kind of stuff from like, and that's nostalgic to a lot of people. But it's just that imagery and kind of like aesthetic repurposed for something else.
Yeah,
You would not have had that like 10 years ago.
No. I think as well though that people aren't basing themselves on just one subtype.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that there are people that are.
Yeah,
however,
of course.
I guess growing up it's a thing of exposure, isn't it? If you didn't have the internet, where'd you get your exposure to things from? Probably your friend group. Your friend group are all listening to drum and bass. You're just going to listen to drum and bass.
Yeah.
All my friends listen to punk, so obviously I ended up not really listening to so much punk. However, a lot of my exposure was through stuff like that, and then you kind of go from there into other things. But you kind of fall into that thing of, with the internet, you can literally find anything that you're after.
Yeah.
You can listen to Tchaikovsky. You can listen to, I was trying to think of a mumble rapper, but I can't think of, I don't know. Like, you can listen to Billie Eilish, you can listen to Cattle Decapitation, like, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I want to try this genre of music, where can I get a CD? Oh, it's going to cost £12 from HMV. I'd rather spend that £12 on something that I know that I'll listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that way anymore.
Exactly, yeah. I think everything's a bit more open now, and you don't have to like pigeonhole yourself so much. And I think as well, like if you look at it, if you draw it back to like the aesthetic side of it and fashion and stuff, if you look at like metal and stuff now, most people like in metal bands and stuff these days, especially like modern bands and stuff, they just like, for want of a better way to explain it, they just look normal. Like, it's not such an extreme image anymore. And like a lot of people take umbrage to that, whatever. But I'm just like, it shouldn't really matter. Like, the music's fundamentally the most important part of it. It shouldn't really matter what the people look like. But it's not such an extreme thing now. It's like when I talk to people at work about the kind of music and stuff I'm into, they're like, oh, I never would have thought you were into that kind of music. And like, not in an ignorant way. I think a lot of it's because I'm like, they expect people to be like really hyped up all the time, or like maybe a bit aggy, or just like full on. But because I'm very like kind of like reserved at work,
yeah,
I think that's a lot of it. But I guess some of it is a hangover from like the image that's attached to it. I mean, obviously when I was younger, I grew my hair out and everything and whatever. Like, I'm kind of doing it again now, but that's by the by. But you know, most of the time I'll be wearing like Adidas shirts and stuff now. Like, it doesn't really matter to me about what I'm wearing. Like, and again, that's not to diss anyone else's choice. Like, do what you want, but I don't feel like I have to prove anything with the clothes that I'm wearing to be like, oh yeah, like I have to wear this to earn the right to be metal. Like, you know.
I think that's an age thing.
Yeah,
I definitely fell into that trap growing up, where because I was listening to black metal bands, for some reason I got it into my head that they were dressed like that all the time.
Yeah.
So I was basically wearing Cradle of Filth or Dimmu Borgir's stage gear every day, thinking that they were wearing stuff that was equivalent to that every day in, day out. And obviously that's not the case. They're wearing bloody jeans and trainers and a t-shirt like every other fucker.
Yeah.
And I think it took me a while to kind of get into my head that they're not wearing these really elaborate clothes all the time.
Do your Tesco run in full corpse paint?
Well, yeah. Well, rather than not so much the corpse paint, but the garb. It's kind of
yeah.
And it's taking you way too long to get ready, and yeah, it's not really worth it. I mean, I think I got to the first year of uni maybe, when I was still doing like the kind of big hair and glam stuff, And I was like, can't be asked anymore.
Absolute effort.
But I mean, at that point as well, I had my long hair, and then I grew my hair out again, and then kind of just cut it off. It's one of those things where, like, over time, you realise that it's not really worth it. I mean, I live in band shirts. I don't have much that isn't a band shirt. Like for casual wear, anyway.
I say that now. I've literally got band shirt on now. Like, but yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's like, but that's obviously like that's more of like that's like a choice thing. It's like it's what you like to wear. It's not like it's not like I have to wear this like to make a point, like kind of thing.
No, I like shirts that have a full front print.
Yeah.
If I could find something that maybe wasn't a band shirt that had a full front print, that wasn't just either a breast pocket print or just like across the top of a shirt, then I might buy it. But it's very...
On that note, Aston found a really sick Umbongo t-shirt that I think I'm going to buy.
My God. Is it like full print?
Nah, it's not, because I've seen that one before and I'm like, oh, can't really rock a full print. It's a bit jazzy for me these days. But it's like the Umbongo animals.
Yeah.
And then like the logo crested over the top for like the font. And then underneath, I think it says they drink it in the Congo.
Amazing.
That's like, I actually want it. It looks sick as well. Like, it's really good.
Like, is it like an Etsy thing or a...
No, I can't remember what site she found it on, but it was like 20 quid, so I think I'm just going to buy it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
100%.
I guess, like, as well with Greebo fashion in general, it was one of those things where the stuff was easily accessible for the time. It was all of the, like, almost every large market had, like, the Greebo shop.
Yeah.
Milton Keynes Market had one. I think it had more than one, but the main one that I went to had kind of like belts and spikes and badges and patches and stuff, like on pinboards and shit. And then there was another one that wasn't too far in Finmere that had fake like Junko jeans. But they were like branded with bands on them, so you could get like a Linkin Park pair of really baggy jeans or a Slipknot pair of really baggy jeans, obviously, and like hoodies and all that kind of crap. Which I never bought that stuff, but none of that shit's available now, really.
No.
Not even like another equivalent. I don't know. Like, I guess the thing is as well though is that we're talking 2000 to kind of 2005. 2006, 2007 was like the revenge of skinny jeans, where it went from being really baggy to Trivium saying that they're wearing women's jeans to get them skinny enough. And then everyone was wanting skinny jeans, and then people were putting out men's skinny jeans. And they're not, I don't think they're as drainpipe tight as they were now, but that hasn't really changed as much. I don't think.
No. And I think that kind of marks a point where a lot of it kind of almost started funneling into general fashion. That kind of aesthetic and that kind of look, obviously, it was massive within the whole like scene thing as well.
Yeah.
But really, skinny jeans have been a staple of like men's fashion for like years now, and it was almost like where you could see it starting to cross over into like more mainstream. Like, sound like a right dickhead saying that, but more like mainstream fashion.
Yeah, well, I think we should say that there's a history of that. Like, you have to just look at punk stuff from the 70s, that it gradually gets absorbed into the mainstream media. But I remember when the first kind of things of metalcore bands and stuff wearing skinny jeans, and I absolutely hated it. But then 2.5 years later, I was wearing skinny jeans. So, I mean, I'm just kind of a bit behind the 8 ball on it. But the thing for me was just like, trying to tuck baggy jeans into boots is basically impossible.
Yeah.
So I'll just wear skinny jeans and tuck it into boots. But then that's the thing as well, is that like I went from listening to more black metal to death metal, and the death metal stuff is way more casual in how you look.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the Corpse Grinder Live Cannibalism outfit is basically, I think it's a Death Clock t-shirt, a pair of Dickies work trousers tucked into boots.
Yeah, it's just very like I find it in general like, and I think this is a good thing, like in my opinion, like, do you know what I mean? Well, good or bad, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I think death metal generally it's like the imagery in that is a lot like in terms of like the actual clothes. It's just very workmanlike. It's just like, yeah, it's just clothes.
Yeah,
like it's not a big part of the image of the band or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, cool, whatever. And that's like, do you know what I mean? Like it definitely, like there are genres and stuff where the imagery and stuff is a big part of it, and it definitely has its place, like black metal and J-rock and stuff. Like it's integral to like that presentation. And I'm not knocking it, but like, yeah, death metal is just like, oh, they're just like normal geezers just smashing out riffs.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's the thing as well is that it's all well and good being in a band where you dress up. Case in point, I was in one for a long time.
yeah.
But my God, when you're playing toilet venues, it ain't half a faff.
Yeah.
To have to try and set yourself up and everything, and yeah, it's really annoying. Like to have to try and sort yourself out. And I always feel for like black metal bands that play the Unicorn that they've got to get ready in those fucking toilets.
When we did that Halloween show, the wrestling one, that was fucking hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so. I say it wasn't so much a problem for me. I was dressed up for one set, then I had to get changed again for another set, and then get changed again, which was just ridiculous. But
I remember I sat in Matt's car doing that Sting makeup. It took me about fucking 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the first band that I was ever in was a black metal band with Corpse Paint, and I think it was 10-15 minutes of doing it. It was just silly, like how long it takes. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it's also a thing as well of like, I think, and it's maybe just think about that I worked at Diesel when I was 16/17, I want to say, just kind of doing Christmas work. And somewhat like one of the people that worked there said to me, it was like, do you think you're always going to dress the way that you dress? And I said, no. And I said, do you always think that if you stop dressing the way that you dress, that you'll still be listening to the same music? And I said, yes. It's like, it doesn't matter if I change the way that I dress, if I become more casual growing up. But I don't think it's going to dilute the fact that I still listen to the same kind of music.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound really bad. I think people are just more socially aware, and they're not going to wear crazy ass clothes to the shops.
Yeah, I guess as well. Like I imagine for like younger kids now, like teenagers now, you like looking back at that stuff. Obviously, they didn't live through it, but you probably think it probably is quite funny to them. And to be fair, like to us, it's quite funny looking back at it. You know, it's all like some of it was quite OTT and it's funny in its own way. And like, I guess it's that, isn't it? Every generation probably looks at the previous generation's fashion choices and like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
it's the case of me getting old, seeing people that are wearing kind of like capri pants with the big roll ups and then no socks and slip on like leather shoes.
Yeah,
I fully don't understand that. That's the thing that's like, I don't get it.
I remember I went from a colourful trousers phase.
What, as in they were one colour but colourful, or just all colourful, multiple
colours?
No,
one colour and colourful. So when I was about 18, basically I started like doing running and stuff, and I lost like loads of weight because I was like, I need to sort this out because I was just bare lazy basically and like not in good shape. And I lost like 5 stone in about 6 months. And then I was like, I'm going to buy new clothes and stuff. And actually, like, I was like, I can kind of buy the clothes I want now, kind of thing. To be honest, like, because I've been, not to sound like, Mr. Metal, because I've been into metal for so long, like, I think a lot of people can probably feel the same way. Like, I was like, I've listened to a lot of metal, so I was like, started listening to other stuff and like kind of went the other way. I was like listening to lighter stuff, like I started listening to like The Cure and like the Smiths and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
I got more into like old Indian stuff, so like old indie and stuff. Sound like I just said old Indian stuff.
That's sweet Bangra,
isn't it? But yeah, like so. You know, that's when I started wearing like skinny jeans and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna get these red ones and these purple ones because I'll look fucking sick in these trousers. And I was just like, like thinking back at it, And like some of the, so for me, it's quite funny because I had mid 2000s, early 2000s Greebo fashion crimes, and then I had late 2000s to 2010 indie / top man fashion crimes.
Do you have the deep V-neck?
No, I've done myself dirty twice. Yeah. Oh, and I think about it now. I'm like, why was every t-shirt like a deep V-neck? It's such a shit choice.
I have never worn a V-neck shirt.
They're awful. Like at the time, like, yeah, I'm hot shit in this. And they're like, wait, what was that about? I look like a Lego man. Like, appalling. Like the ones you get from Top Man as well. They look like some bottom tier Spanish league football strip. Like just the colour scheme of that. Just awful. Just like, oh, what's this about?
Top Man stuff has never fit me. I've never had anything from Top Man apart from maybe a pair of suit shoes.
Yeah, the sizes are jokes. Like they're so small.
But it's not even that they're small. It's that like if you go bigger on them, they don't get longer. They just get wider.
Right.
So for someone, well, you're tall as well, but I don't know. But for me, if I was to wear at the time Top Man stuff that supposedly fit me, I would have my stomach would be exposed because the crotches are always so low.
Yeah.
And the t-shirts are cut so short that even if my arms are down, the bottom of the shirt would be hitting the top of the belt buckle.
Screwing.
Just awful choices for everything. So yeah, I just do not. H&M was the one that I used to go to for. I say used to. I still do go to H&M for a lot of stuff, but
yeah.
Although trying to find a normal pair of jeans was really difficult a couple months ago, where everything was slim fit or drain pipe, which is fine.
Serious?
Which is fine, but I already have those. I was like, I just wanted like a normal pair of jeans that are. But we're not talking baggy in the way that we were talking about baggy in the like early 2000s baggy, but like normal straight cut jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
some dad jeans.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. No on impossible.
It's mad, isn't it?
I had to go to Next, but like the Next outlet by the stadium to get them.
We're getting too old, mate, for this fashion lark. Like,
yeah, nothing in H&M, nothing in Primark. It's just ridiculous.
Kind of on a point as well, what we were just saying about, you know, that kind of fashion's become a lot, I guess, diluted in a way, like if you want to say that, but fashion like for metal and stuff isn't so outrageous now. It's pretty functional more than anything, and it's almost like fashionable in a way. It's interesting as well, you see some bands turn their merch almost into like apparel.
Yeah, well, it's one of the only ways to make money.
Yeah, but you think, like, I know obviously they're kind of like a Marmite band, but to their credit, well, I guess like to Ollie Sykes' credit, you look what he did with Drop Dead.
Yeah.
So when it started off, it was, you know, it was a whole like really over the top graphics, like that kind of neon in your face band thing that like the scene kids really loved.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I guess over the last maybe 8 years or so, it's become more designed like actual like fashionable like apparel, and like it's subtle, and like the logos are used like as a branding, and it's been redesigned almost as tight. It's almost like it's a fashion line that's almost separate from the band.
Yeah, I think that was his intention. Was that
it's very clever, like really good business sense. To be fair, like I know people slag it off, but it's like, look, if you've done something right with that, obviously it's definitely working out. And I think that's kind of like indicative of just the way the image and stuff has gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to look at, I'll say Billie Eilish again, but a lot of the kind of iconography and stuff that's being used is kind of just like lifted out of metal.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like, there's other like mainstream artists that are using that kind of alternative metal stuff to give themselves a bit of edge.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes people want to use that stuff in their fashion lines. So it just becomes more, I don't know, homogenous, I guess. It's just...
Yeah, I think that is the word, really. Like, it does become a bit homogenous.
But at the same time, we should say you're not going to get someone that so much now that's like bowling around wearing a pair of 20-hole DMs and a trench coat. The same as you're probably not going to get someone that's bowling around wearing a Kappa sweatsuit jacket and a Burberry hat.
Very rare, very rarely spotted these days.
Yeah, just to flip it around, like it's
it's a good point. I think for both sides of that kind of spectrum, what we're talking about, you know, like Greebo's, Chavs, like etc. It is almost like everything's kind of met in the middle now.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, whatever people's opinions on it are. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would love it to be like more identifiable, like it was in early 2000s and stuff. But that's kind of by the by. It just isn't. It isn't that way now. Personally, doesn't upset me any great deal. But again, like you're saying, we're kind of past. We're at that age now where it's like our identity doesn't really hinge around like what we're wearing.
I think the fashion choices for teens is very different as well, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like generally speaking, like teenagers and that are a bit more aware of that kind of stuff now, and are a bit more like clued up. Like, and I wasn't aware of like brands and stuff when, you know, apart from the obvious stuff, like everyone knows Nike, everyone knows Adidas, everyone knows Reebok and things, but I wasn't aware of like niche brands and stuff when I was a teenager. Whereas now it's like streetwear and stuff's a huge thing, and like young kids are like well clued up about certain like aesthetics and stuff. It's, I guess in its way, it's its own little subcultures and whatever, but I didn't have a clue about any of that stuff back then, and it definitely existed.
Yeah, I didn't have a Scooby about any of it. Like, it wasn't. And people would say, "Oh, yeah, but it was because you weren't interested." It's like, well, it wasn't there. Like you didn't know about it because it wasn't available for you to view.
Yeah.
I mean, even with kind of stuff with like pop culture references and like the stuff like Obey and things like that, those are kind of things that I would have probably considered to be alternative when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But they're no way are they now like now.
No, not at all. Like I remember when Obey did like the 2 special design guitars for like Fender.
Yeah.
That was the first time I actually heard of it.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, where things just will get bigger and bigger, and then they will become more and more mainstream because more and more people like it. It's just the way that it is.
I think the fashion of that time, I don't think it will come round again. Because it wasn't timeless. It was very much of that time.
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I mean, if it did, it wouldn't be the same. It would be streamlined, I guess, would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see there's like elements of that kind of stuff which has crept back in, but it won't grow to like what it ever was before. Like, because it's not the zeitgeist anymore.
Mm.
Like if you look at like bands like Code Orange, for example, not so much now because with that last album they've really like gone to town with the whole, you know, it's the aesthetic of that band's like all encompassing now across like the album artwork and how they present themselves, and like they even make their own like stage wear and stuff. Like one of the guitarists like makes clothes.
Right. Okay.
But like in the last album cycle, like, you know, like they'd wear like Slipknot tees and stuff, which wasn't in vogue at all. You know, it was almost like looked down on prior to that, but that almost made that cool again.
Yeah.
And stuff. But it, you know, it's not like you're not going to see. It's not going to be like it was before. People like you're not going to see like Junko jeans and stuff coming back.
No. I mean, the closest to that, like I said before, is probably going to be like Dickies work jeans.
Yeah.
Which they've never changed because they're just work jeans or work chino. Like they're made of like that chino material. But yeah, But then it's like I was saying before that I was dressed extremely because I thought that the people that I was listening to dressed like that all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas now people that are listening to stuff like Takeshi 69 are not dyeing their hair rainbow coloured.
No.
Like, and wearing clothes like that. There's now more of a disconnect, I guess.
Like you say as well about you think like you thought that's what those people were wearing all the time. Like, again, like, go back to the internet, that mystique's been removed now because you've got access to everything, and like artists as well. Like, there's engagement with fan base and stuff is a lot more direct, like, for the most part now as well. Like, you do in a way, I think it's good. Like, it removes that kind of pedestal and it removes that kind of veil from it. And it's like, these are just normal people. They happen to be talented or whatever. Well, some of them aren't talented, but whatever. You know, they're musicians, and it's cool to like respect them, but they are normal people, kind of thing. And I think that's good in a way. It removes the whole like rock star thing, which I was never really a fan of. I guess it's a shame in a way, like, to lose some of that mystique about music, because in a way that's what makes it fascinating when you're young and stuff. Like, the kind of smoke and mirrors of it, and not knowing every single thing about something. I guess, because now you've got the internet and stuff. Like, you look at, for example, like, to make a kind of link there, say about, you know, when you were younger, you thought, oh, black metal bands just dress like that all the time. If you look at like Nurgle from Behemoth, I know Behemoth aren't strictly a black metal band, I haven't been for years, but whatever, I can't be bothered to argue about that. Like, Nurgle on Instagram just like having a spa, like, you would not have fucking had that back in, do you know what I mean? Not that bothers me, I think it's funny, but just to show like how things have changed, and like that barrier's almost fallen away now. That would have been unfathomable like 15 years ago, or in the 90s. Imagine just seeing like Fenriz like in 1996 just like at Dolphin Splashdown. You'd be like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, I mean, Fenriz is a good point as well, because there's like interviews with him now, isn't there? Obviously, he's not active on social media. He does this radio show though.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's still doing something that people can listen to online, because it's him chatting about just random crap.
Yeah.
Ishan does like his playthrough things and is quite active online, like talking about that he records in his house. Shagarath put up a photo today of him at Hobbiton in New Zealand.
Amazing.
Like, I'm trying to think of like other ones. Danny Filth like saying about that he's recording vocal demos for the new album online. Cradle of Filth did a collab with Drop Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these aren't, everyone's going to be like, oh, these aren't the bands that you should be talking about. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of, they're the ones that are still going. There was one of Satyr from Satyricon, he like saying that they're jamming again. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, they're all wearing just t-shirts and shit. Like, it's not, no makeup. I mean, Shagarath seems to always wear sunglasses, but that's besides the point. It's the break of kayfabe. You're kind of peering behind the curtain and realizing that they're normal people.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I think it's interesting as well. Like, something we mentioned last week, but for a different reason, obviously, about when those guys were like young and certain things in like the black metal scene and whatever. But in terms of the imagery, it's like literally what we were saying. It's like, when you're young, you're so like fervently into it. Like, no, I must do this all the time. And like, and it's the same thing there. You know, it's like, it's something to prove almost, and it's kind of like youthful pride, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to tar everyone under the same brush, but for me as well, it's kind of a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, obviously, with a history of mental health problems, there's a symptom of it, is that you never think that you're true or good enough or whatever. You're being judged by a silent majority that you never meet or see.
Yeah.
You just end up being so ridiculously overcommitted to it that you kind of just go over the top.
Yeah, I guess it is, like, obviously, aside from that as well, because that's something within itself. Like, when you are young, I feel like you do feel like you're judged a lot more than probably when you're older, and it is kind of like you have got something to prove in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I wasn't so bothered about going out until I was in London for a couple of years, and then I wasn't hanging around with people that were into metal and I wasn't going to so many metal nights or anything like that. It was just a random group of people that I lived with that were from all different backgrounds and listening to all different kinds of music. So no one really gave a shit what the other person wore. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah. Giving it our big fashion beans this week.
Yeah, it's and going into kind of the ins and outs of the last 20 years of rock and roll and how it's changed. Yeah, as per normal, nothing's changed. All of our social media handles are at the BritHick. We might do Bass and Heel again next week. Depends on if anyone's going to be an absolute shithead or not.
Send us your arsehole. No, actually, no. Send us your arseholes.
Yeah, that can definitely be taken the wrong way.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, no arseholes. But
send us your heels.
Yeah, send us your heels. Send us your ass. I was going to say it again. Send us people that are being particularly dickish. Yeah, I guess we'll just leave it there. Thank you very much.
Cheers, everyone.